managed to get by without Lance Parrish last year, but how could they live without Kirk Gibson in '88? But with July less than a week away, guess who looks down at the rest of the American League East? Yes, it's the Detroit Tigers, and 45,000 were looking down at the Tigers and the Blue Jays at Exhibition Stadium this afternoon. Top of the second is scoreless, and the ageless wonder, Darrell Evans, cranks this long ball off Dave Steve. His 8th home run of the year, 1-0 Tigers. Still in the second, runners at second and third. Pettis just inside the pole in right field. That's about the 30-yard line on the football field. A 3-run shot, 4-0, and Dave Steve sees the game going up in smoke. Doyle Alexander, who used to pitch on that mound for the Blue Jays, gets Fred McGriff there, strikes out 6, walked only 1. Tigers win it 7-2. Dave Steve had a
Minnesota Twins playing some very good baseball, hoping to close the gap between themselves and the first-place Oakland Athletics this weekend. Friday night, the Twins came back from 5 runs down, came away with a big win. Saturday afternoon in Oakland against Bob Welch. Well, Kirby Puckett at the plate. The A's up 1-0. Puckett, who hits about .375 with runners in scoring position. Little single under Mike Gallego's glove. Here comes Mike Lombardozzi. The game is tied. Then an error kept it alive in the third. Jose Canseco takes a 2-2 fastball and puts out his 19th home run of the year. This one off of Alan Anderson. A 3-run shot with 2 men out. Ooh, those hurt after the error. 4-2. Then the defense. Kirby Puckett threatens here. Watch Hendu going back. Got the bead. Going to slow up so we can see it at home as he pulls it back into the friendly confines of the Oakland Alameda playing field. Then in the 7th inning, Greg Gagne with the looping shot to right. Canseco, oh yeah, on the seat of his pants. Makes it tail it away in the 8th inning in a 1-run game, though the Twins have got the bases loaded against the Eck. Kelvin Torvey, who replaced Tommy Herr on the roster today, his first big league at-bat, and see it. Eckersley came in and put it out in the 9th in order. He's got 23 saves. That leads the American League.
The knowledge that over the last month he had twice failed to escape the 3rd inning. The Reds in a slump as well were quick to take advantage and make it 3 times in the last month for Fernando. Eric Davis, a 2-run home run. This following a Barry Larkin leadoff home run, and the Reds were on top 3-0. Then with 2 men out, Paul O'Neill sends one, and this one gets out of there in a hurry. That's gone for a home run as it hits the pole, and Tommy Lasorda is a little bit worried. 4-0 Reds. Fernando gave up 2 more hits. He leaves the game after only 2/3 of an inning. That's the earliest exit of his career. But back come the Dodgers. Bases loaded. 2 out. Marshall with that single. 2-run score. It's all tied at 4 apiece. Then John T-Bone Shelby lifts this one out to left field. Kirk Gibson scores, and the Dodgers are on top 5-4, and they go on to win it 6-4 as a host of pitchers on both sides got rocked around. The Dodgers get the victory, and now the Reds, who continue to slump, are 8.5 games back of Los Angeles. In Houston, the Giants and the Astros, this one is over, and San Francisco has beaten Houston for the 2nd consecutive night, beat them 11-0 last night. Brett Butler with a home run, and Mike Krukow gets a 3-hitter. San Diego and Atlanta. What's happened to the Padres? They got a little bit hot there for a while, but now they're struggling again. 8-4 is the final. The Braves win for the 3rd straight time. That ties a season high. They get 4 runs in the 5th, including Dale Murphy with a 2-run single.
You might remember yesterday the Mets and the Cubs had a game with controversy and a minor bench-clearing discussion. Well, today the pot kept boiling at Wrigley Field. Literally, it was 103 degrees Fahrenheit on the near north side at Wrigley. Hot enough, in fact, to maybe even wilt a strawberry. Yeah, it was that kind of a day. Todd had one of the 6 strawberries on first. Darrell going for second. Damon Berryhill into center field. Strawberry ends up on third. He would later score on a Carter single. The Mets up 2-1. Zim, but don't worry, the wind is blowing out. Bottom of that inning now, Rafael Palmeiro against Bobby Ojeda, and he takes Ojeda out. Number 6 on the year for Rafael, tying the game at 2-2. All right, Ojeda just got taken for the homer. Next batter is Andre Dawson. Oh, hey, he remembers what happened to him last year with the cheekbone. He wants a piece of him. Great move by Gary Carter to avert what could have been a problem in this little scuffle. Ronnie Darling, Sunday's starter for the Mets, injured his thumb holding Ojeda away, and not known exactly how bad that is. Rick Aguilera in relief in the 8th inning, and Ryan Sandberg lines a single to center. Sean Dunston coming in. Tack on a Mark Grace 2-run triple and a 5-2 victory for the Cubbies over the Mets. Another good outing on the hill for Jamie Moyer, even though he did not pick up a decision on the day.
Tommy John throwing 7 1/3 innings of 1-run ball, recording his 282nd career win, and Jack Clark slamming his 14th homer, a 2-run blast in the 3rd. New York knocking off Cleveland 4-1. The Yankees stay 2 games back of Detroit in the East. Because the Tigers doing in the Blue Jays 7-2, Darrell Evans unloading a solo shot, and Gary Pettis adding a 3-run homer as Detroit ends Dave Steve's personal 9-game win streak. In the West, Oakland opening a 6-game lead on the second-place Twins. Jose Canseco driving on this shot. The A's trimming Minnesota's Fernando Valenzuela doing more than his share of sitting. The Reds knocking him out in the first inning, but Fernando let off the hook. Mike Marshall's 2-run single keying a 5-run second. L.A. rallies back, beating Cincy 6-4. The Pirates picking up a game on the Mets in the East. John Smiley spinning a 5-hitter, winning his 8th game in 12 decisions. Pittsburgh shutting down Montreal 5-1.
RBIs and in walks, and he is the franchise right now. Witness Saturday at home against the second-place Minnesota Twins. Twins able to tie this game early on against Bob Welch. Kirby Puckett, a .370 hitter with runners in scoring position. Singles and Steve Lombardozzi makes it 1-1. But Canseco got a chance to bat in the 3rd inning because of an error. Gets a 2-2 fastball from Alan Anderson, and it's a souvenir. 3-run shot, his 19th of the year. It came with 2 outs. Oh, those 2-out errors, and the A's up 4-2, and they hold on to their lead with their gloves. Puckett puts it deep. There goes Hendu. Dave Henderson. Hendu can do. Keeps it in the ball yard. Canseco on defense had a number of great moments on the afternoon. This one in the 7th. Watch him use the grass. This hurts if you do it on artificial turf. And the glove. On the seat of the pants comes up with a Dennis Eckersley, getting Kelvin Torrey here, who replaced Tommy Herr on the roster today. His first major league at-bat, and it's a K. The Eck gets him in order in the 9th, leads the American League now with 23 saves. 13 of those 19 Canseco homers have either tied or put the A's ahead. A's now have a 6-game lead. The Royals trying to keep pace there in Seattle, leading it 2-0 into the 5th inning when Mickey Brantley of the Mariners homering for his 3rd straight game. This one off Brett Saberhagen. Mariners leading it 2-1. Then Ken Phelps ties the game in the 8th. Opposite field over the plexiglass, and the game is 2-2. But in the 9th, the Mariners self-destructed. Don't worry, Brett Saberhagen. Frank White will put down a bunt, and Steve Valboni errs once, errs twice, throws it away. Bill Pecota scores, and the floodgates are open. 2 errors on the play. Bill Buckner had a sac fly to make it 4-2. Then Kurt Stillwell got the only hit of the inning. Mike McFarland comes in right after White, making it 6-2. Then a balk scored a run. Royals in the 9th inning got 5 runs on 1 hit. Final was 7-3. Saberhagen had a 5-hitter through 8, struck out 3, walked 4. Mark Langston has lost now 4 consecutive games. Chicago battering Texas 10-5. Dave Gallagher had 2 homers. Also Greg Walker and Ron Karkovice had dingers. And Dave LaPointe taking a shutout into the 9th before the Rangers finally got their runs.
The American League East has seen enough action early to last the entire season. Manager firings in Baltimore and New York, the Orioles losing streak, trouble for the Toronto Blue Jays, and an already fierce race atop the division. Through it all, Sparky Anderson has his Tigers back where they finished last season, in first place. Looking down at the rest of the division, 45,000 fans on hand at Exhibition Stadium. Top of the 2nd, scoreless. And Darrell Evans, they call him the old man in Detroit, but this old guy can crank him as well. A 1-0 lead for the Tigers. Still in the 2nd with runners in 2nd and 3rd. Gary Pettis does likewise. This one out to right field, but 2 men were aboard. It's a 3-run shot. The Tigers are on top of Dave Steve 4-0. Doyle Alexander, who used to pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays, striking out his ex-teammates, 6 of them, gets Fred McGriff there, and the Tigers win this one, going away 7-2. Dave Steve, his 9-game winning streak comes to an end. His first loss since April, and the Jays drop 9 back of the Tigers. Yankee Stadium, the Yankees and the Cleveland Indians trying to keep pace. Tied 1-1 in the 3rd. Jack Clark at the plate facing Greg Swindell. Deep to left, a 2-run home run, his 14th of the year. The 6th home run off Swindell in his last 12 and a third innings, 3-1 New York. Tommy John at 45 years of age, you never know it. With a strikeout there against Ron Kittle, he had 5 in the game. The Yanks had insurance in the 8th. Rafael Santana lines a single to left off Perlman. Winfield scores 4-1 for the Yankees. Bring on Cecilio Guante, and this time he gets the job done. Strikes out Carmen Castillo to end the game, and the Yankees win this one 4-1. Greg Swindell, the 5th consecutive loss. He won his 10th on May the 30th, hasn't won since. 6 attempts since without a victory. at Fenway, the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. It was tied at 3 in the 8th. Doug Sisk inherits the bases loaded, nobody out. Jim Rice chops this one up the middle. Now, Dwight Evans comes in, and then Mike Greenwell scores. 5-3 Sox. Talk about bad luck for the Orioles. We're not talking about some smashed hits here. Rich Gedman, another dribbler. This one past Billy Rifkin into center. Ellis Burke scores. It's now 6-3 Boston. Bases are loaded again. Wade Boggs, another bouncer. Again past Billy Rifkin. Another couple of runs come in. Spike Owen is nailed at third, but Gedman is the second run to score, and it's 8-3. Now with 2 out and 2 on. Evans, 2. The usually reliable Cal Ripken Jr., and it takes a weird hop, bounces off his knee. 12 Sox come to the plate, 7 runs scored. It's been that type of year for this man, Frank Robinson. 10-3 is the final of the 7-run 8th inning, the most for the Sox in 2 years. Cal Ripken, you saw the error, but never mind that. His 1,000th consecutive game. He's the 6th player in Major League history to pull off that stint. In California, the Angels and the Milwaukee Brewers. After Angels spot Milwaukee 2 runs in the first, bottom of the second, Devon White on first. Jack Howell singles to left on the hit and run. Devon White says, hey, if you're going to give it to me, I'm just going to keep on going. Now watch Dale Swaim, picks up the ball, doesn't even look at White. White comes in and scores. 2-1 Milwaukee. Darren Miller singles. Jim Gantner, past Jim Gantner. Howell keeps running. Again, Rob Deere overruns the ball. The throw's not in time, and we're tied at 2. 2 hit and runs, and poor Brewer defense cost them both runs. Bottom of the third, California adds on with 1 run in. Chili Davis singles off Tom Filer. Johnny Ray scores 4-2 for the Angels. Mike Witt goes the distance, giving up just 3 runs. He gets Braggs on the called 3rd strike to end the game. Witt strikes out the side, 7 strikeouts, and his 6th victory, including 4 in a row as California beats Milwaukee 7-3 is the final. It's Danny Darwin with 1 on and 2 out, and the count is 0-2. Uribe triples out to right field. Mike Aldretti comes all the way around from first as the ball takes a huge bounce. 1-0 San Francisco. 6th inning, 2-1 Giants. Darwin gives up 3 straight, including this single to center field by Kevin Mitchell. Candy Maldonado comes in, and it's 3-1 for the Dodgers. For the Giants, rather. Meanwhile, Krukow was pitching a 3-hitter, helped by odd plays like this one, bouncing around off Clark, scooped up by Riles. Krukow is covering, and Mike Krukow goes the distance to pick up a 3-hitter. The Giants have only 5 complete games this season, but 2 of them have come in consecutive games against the Houston Astros. San Diego and Atlanta. 4-run 5th inning, including Dale Murphy with a 2-run single. The Braves' 3rd consecutive victory matches their longest winning streak of the season.
To the long ball. This one off Dodgers starter Fernando Valenzuela by Barry Larkin, a souvenir to left field. The end of the dugout, but in actuality, it comes from competing in the AL East, where they've lost 8 of 10, contending with the likes of Cleveland. As the weekend began, 6 teams were within 8 games of the Tigers' lead, including New York and the Indians, 2 and 3 back. And at Yankee Stadium, perhaps a ball signed by Tommy John. Yes, that's Corey Snyder pointing out Luis Aparicio's signature on that old White Sox ball, but Tommy John feeling the heat early on this shot by Ron Washington. Corey Snyder scores. Ron Washington, though, nailed in the relay, and shades of Oscar Gamble's haircut as the camera zooms in. Indians lead 1-0. Bottom of the third, Jack Clark with a good old-fashioned banger, a 2-run shot. Lined into the corner, the Yankees assume a 3-1 lead, and Tommy John did the rest, spinning a web of deceit against Ron Kittle and Cleveland, getting help from Cecilio Guante, who got his 9th save. John has now won 282 games in his career, and New York has won 2 of 3 under Piniella. At Exhibition Stadium, Detroit with the wind blowing out at Toronto. Dave Stieb looking for his 10th win in his last 10 decisions, but was not on target. Scoreless game in the second when Darrell Evans hits a colossal shot to dead center. Over Lloyd Mosby, 1-0 Tigers. That may be expected, but not this. Gary Pettis, of all people, pops this shot over the right field, deep onto the football field. A 3-run shot. It is Steve's first loss since April 26th, and former Blue Jay Doyle Alexander was the benefactor, twirling and throwing out Manny Lee. Man, oh Manny Lee, what a play by Alan Trammell, as Detroit has won 15 of 22 versus the East and keeps its lead at 2 over New York, sends Cleveland 4 back now. At Fenway Park, Boston battling Baltimore. Bruce Hurst
The Red Sox are 10-5 when he has started on the mound, but he got off to a bad start. Cal Ripken hits his 12th home run. Orioles take a 2-0 lead. Lose it, then tie it again, then blow up when Doug Sis comes on in relief with a pulled-in infield. Jim Rice squirts one through to score 2 runs. Evans and Greenwell. 2 batters later, Wade Boggs, who held a clubhouse meeting to apologize to his teammates for involving them in the recent palimony suit, still is playing well on the field, although some of his teammates aren't running the bases well. Part of a 6-run inning as the Red Sox blow it open and win it 10-3 over Baltimore.
The toughest opponent for Oakland this season has been Oakland. The A's came into their game with Minnesota today, a 5-game lead. They actually have a better road record than they do at home. Minnesota came in winners of 7 of their last 9, while the A's have split their last 10. Jose Canseco says it's a lot of pressure to put on a 23-year-old to lead a team. He's doing a very good job. Bottom of the 3rd, 2-1 Twins. But Canseco, his 19th home run of the year, leads the majors 4-2 A's. A's defense sparkle behind Bob Welsh. This is Dave Henderson. Kirby Puckett is robbed at the wall. You want more defense? You'll get it from the 23-year-old who has a lot of pressure on him. Canseco says, decent catch. Let me see what do you think of it? Not bad. Okay. Top of the 8th, bases loaded 4-3 A's. Kelvin Torvey just called up from Portland facing Dennis Eckersley, and he strikes him out. His 23rd save, and the Oakland A's win it by the count of 4-3. Canseco, 19 home runs, 13 have either tied a game or put the A's ahead. In the Kingdome, the Mariners scored in 6 of their first 7 innings. Dave LaPointe bouncing back after struggling recently.
The nastiest rivals in the sport, the Cubs and Mets. Actually, New Yorkers don't have any acute dislike for the Cubs, considering they've never really cost them anything. But the Mets have brought mountains of misery to Cub fans since 1969. And this afternoon, the animosity was apparent on the field, as was the heat of the moment. A hydrant providing some reverse relief for the canine crop on hand. And Rafael Palmeiro bringing the Cubs back from a 2-1 deficit with a line drive home run, much to the displeasure of Bob Ojeda, who may have taken it out on the next batter, Andre Dawson, who pointed some wood in Ojeda's direction, discarded it, then went after the pitcher, and the bench is emptied. Eventually, Ron Darling restrained Ojeda. We'll have more on what happened to him later, but with relief in the dugout provided by the towel, none on the mound. Rick Aguilera came in relief of Ojeda, and after Sean Dunston had stolen second, Ryne Sandberg drilled him home with that single, broke the tie, and the Cubs scored a couple of more to win it 5-2. Darling, holding back Ojeda during that melee, injured his hand and may miss his scheduled start on Sunday. At Olympic Stadium, a tender moment for Brian Holman of the Expos, just called up from the minors, making his major league debut, facing Jose Lean with Barry Bonds on second, and the bender. He gets Lean to come back to the mound, and he knows how to run the pickoff play, but threw it away, and Luis Rivera says, you think that's a bad throw? Check this out. Bonds walks home, Lean goes to third, and more problems. Andy Van Slyke just crushes this ball, but Hubie Brooks sizes it up, then watches it bang over his glove for a triple. Van Slyke now has 10 triples on the season. The Pirates went on to take a 2-0 lead and eventually won it scored 5 and easily won behind John Smiley, who threw the 5-hitter, his 3rd complete game. Troubled pitcher Floyd Yeomans was scheduled to start for the Expos Saturday, but he's been indefinitely suspended by the commissioner's office. Yeomans went through alcohol rehabilitation last winter, and his suspension
runs. Who was that masked man? That's Manny Mota. Fernando should have been wearing it after the first inning. First batter he faced, Barry Larkin. 7th home run of the year, 1-0 Reds. 2 batters later, one on Eric Davis, battling injuries, and battled this off-speed ball from Fernando. His 12th home run of the year, 3-0 Reds. Paul O'Neill hit another one to chase Fernando after 2/3 of an inning. L.A. came back. Mike Marshall, bases loaded, 4-2 Reds. Marshall singles up the middle off Jose Rio. Dave Anderson, Danny Heap score, and we're tied at 4-4. Shelby followed with an RBI single. 5-4 L.A. top of the 6th, 2-on. Still 5-4. Mickey Hatcher grounds it to Larkin, but the throw to the plate, Dave Anderson beats it. 6-4 Dodgers. The Reds have lost 5 of 6. They trail L.A. by 8.5. The Dodgers bullpen, the story tonight, they allowed no runs, 4 hits, and 8 in a 3rd innings. to the Astrodome for the Giants and Houston. Top of the third, 1-0 Giants. Danny Darwin, Brett Butler. Butler's been hitting .360 the last 3 weeks. The solo home run, 2-0 San Francisco. Then it was 3-1 Giants. Top of the sixth, Darwin in trouble again. 2 on when Jose Uribe make that Jose RBI. Goes the opposite field. Mike Aldrete scores from second. Uribe's second hit of the night brings in his second run. That's all Mike Krukow needed. A 3-hitter and some nice defensive help. Candy Maldonado with the stab, and Krukow, a future major leaguer perhaps, he could have shut down the Astros the way they've been playing. His son is the bat boy. 4-1 final. The Giants over the Astros for Krukow, his second consecutive complete game. The two bottom teams in the National League West met in Atlanta, and Atlanta with a victory. It was delayed by rain for 40 minutes. Dale Murphy, the big blow, a 2-run single.